Alex Corddry here, joined with CSN's Washington's Rich Tandler. And Rich, on Tuesday, Robert Griffin III said that doctors are telling him he's ahead of schedule. His goal is to come back week 1, but that he wants to come back when he's ready. So a guy like that, we know his fighting mentality. When he's hearing those positive assessments, how do you make sure that he does come back 100%?
Well, he has a fighting mentality, but he also has a smart mentality. He's a smart kid. He knows he's got a tremendous future in front of himself, and that future is going to last a whole lot longer than week 1 of the 2013 season. So I just think you have to trust him to push himself as far as he can. But if things aren't feeling right, if he knows he has to pull back, pull back. I think but the bottom line is he's a smart kid. I think he's going to figure out when to do things. He looks at the long term. A lot of 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds, short-term view. I think he takes a long-term view. I think we keep an eye on it, but I don't think it's something to be real worried about.
Coach Shanahan at the owners' meetings touched on we want Robert to be a little bit more careful. A guy like that, how do you get him to protect himself better?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, something like getting a knee injury like he suffered, getting a concussion like he suffered against the Falcons earlier in this year, that's how he's going to learn. That these are real big guys. They move faster than they did in the Big 12 and at every other level experience. And he just has to learn. Now, unfortunately, it's called taking a lesson the hard way. When you're going to spend your whole off season doing knee rehab instead of being out here at Redskins Park on the field throwing to your receivers and stuff. But he's got to, again, going back to the intelligence, he's got to figure it out. He's got to learn, hey, those extra 5 yards, I don't care if it is third down, those extra 5 yards are not worth potentially losing his career over it.
Switching gears to free agency, it's starting to wind down here. Do you anticipate the Redskins making any more moves, adding anybody else?
Did it ever really wind up? I guess that's the question. But yeah, the 2 key names I wrote about on CSNWashington.com this morning, Fred Davis, their own guy. Looks like he's visiting Buffalo today, visiting the Jets maybe later this week. I think his camp is trying to spur on a deal to try to get something going there. And then Anton Winfield, cornerback from the Vikings, scheduled to visit here today, would fill a big need in the secondary. So yeah, I think there are a few more signings that'll go on. And then as things go on, there might be some minimum salary guys that can help out as depth as you go along. But once Davis and Winfield are determined, I think we'll pretty well be able to put a bow on it.
Rich, I can't believe this. We're getting closer. We're a month away from the NFL draft. So we know the Redskins are looking to rebuild the back end of their defense, but they don't have the first-round pick. So how difficult is it for them to find an immediate starter?
Well, I've written about this a few times on CSNWashington.com, and it's going to be very difficult to find an immediate starter from, it's not only is their first pick in the second round, it's in the latter part of the second round, pick 51. You're going to find, probably maybe a dozen and a half guys picked from that pick on in the entire draft are going to start as rookies. So, I think what they're going to have to do is try to bring in a guy like Winfield. Maybe try to find somebody who's not very expensive, who has some experience at free safety. And let them get in there, let them be the day one starters without putting the pressure on the rookie. As the season goes on, you give your rookie more and more playing time, more and more responsibilities. By hopefully in a playoff push in December, at least some good games still to go. I think at that point you say, okay, rookies, you're not rookies anymore. Have at it. So I think that's the approach they're going to have to take. Try to find guys who are ready as they can be, but not put the pressure on of day one at training camp. Boom, here you go. You're the starter.
All right, Rich, thanks so much. Great stuff, and we'll see you next week.